Every day, when many people are still sleeping, far out at sea, there are ships resting peacefully at the dock. No stage lights, no fakes, just the vast sea and the vast sky as companions. They are fishermen, people who have spent their lives with the waves and fishing nets. Their lives are tied to each heavy catch of hope. And today, we will follow one of those actions, the journey to make a living in the middle of the vast ocean. The sea is never easy to predict, and this job is not easy. Under the scorching sun, calloused hands still cling tightly to each mesh of the net. Each person has a position, a task, coordinating smoothly without words. The seemingly fragile net, containing hundreds of kilograms of fish, is gradually being pulled up from the depths of the sea. Sweat mixed with seawater, running down their sunburnt faces. But no one complains. For them, this is a familiar job, a part of life in the middle of the stormy sea. The net began to move more vigorously. A sudden weight made the whole ship stop for a moment. Under the blue water, a large black mass slowly appeared, struggling violently in the net. Could it be a large fish? Or a whole school of fish had fallen into the battle? Each wave hits the side of the boat hard. The net is stretched to its maximum. The fishermen have to hold on tight, keep their balance, not only to pull, but also to avoid being swept away by their own achievements. This is the most tense moment, both exciting and full of hope. And then, the most awaited moment arrived. The heavy net was slowly lifted out of the water, swinging on the deck. Each drop of water fell like drops of sweat from the ocean. With just a pull of the rope, the whole catch of fish poured onto the wooden floor. Fish, squid, crabs, all kinds, crowded together in a colorful and vibrant pile. A distinctive fishy smell rose, mixed with the rustling sound of fish bodies hitting the floor. The fishermen cheered. They knew today was a lucky day. Nothing is more precious than the fruits of one's own hands pulled up from the ocean floor. On modern ships, everything is operated in a closed process. After the nets are pulled up on deck, each batch of fish is quickly processed, sorted and taken to the storage area. The atmosphere in the hold is now busier than ever. The machines are working continuously, the fish sorting line is running smoothly, and the nets continue to be prepared for the next release. Every detail, from the color of the net, the strength of the hook, to the arrangement on the deck, shows a professional and methodical fishing process. In the distance, the afternoon light shines on the sea, reflecting like a giant mirror. The sea is still quiet, vast, and mysterious, but also very generous to those who know how to follow it. On large-capacity ships, nets are carefully folded, ready for the next fishing trip. Modern technology makes the work more efficient, but the spirit of the seafarer remains the same, unchanged. Each golden net is dropped into the ocean, like arms reaching out to search for life at the bottom of the deep. The ship continues its journey. In the vast sea and sky, it is a symbol of determination, of faith in a bright tomorrow. Each net not only brings fish and shrimp, but also carries the dreams, hardships and resilience of the fishermen. They are people who live with the sea quiet but never subdued. On deck, the fishing nets are full. Tons of fish are in the hands of the fishermen. Another big catch. But for them, the joy lies not only in the quantity, but also in the peace of mind that their efforts will not be washed away by the wind and waves. The work just keeps repeating itself, casting the net, pulling the net, sorting the fish, and then heading out to sea again. In the vastness of the sea and sky, every movement, every operation is rhythmic and professional, like a machine that is used to the wind and waves. In this place, there are not many words, only actions and stories that only seafarers can understand. They are not just fishermen, they are warriors of the sea. Today, modern technology has become the eyes of fishermen in the middle of the ocean. The screens display sonar data, oceanographic maps and fish signals, helping them to accurately determine the location of the fish school, reducing the time spent searching and increasing fishing efficiency. In the rear compartment of the ship, the net continues to be released, hundreds of meters long, clinging to the seabed like a giant net, reaching out to trace the newly discovered fish school. And shortly after, the fish were on deck. The automatic sorting system began to work. The fish slid down the chute, separated by the current, and were placed in deep freeze tanks to preserve their freshness right from the moment they were caught. It was no longer just fishing. This was a modern, professional fishing line, combining human and machine power. In the middle of the vast ocean, the ship continues to quietly cut through the waves. The sea is blue, the sky is clear, seemingly peaceful, but below there are still many unpredictable things. On the deck, under the late afternoon sunlight, The shadows of the fishermen are long on the faded wooden floor. These still work silently, without complaint, without haste, because they clearly understand the sea is a place of challenge, but also a place that nourishes them. For some, it may be just a job, for them, it is life, faith, resilience, love for the sea. Amidst the hustle and bustle of modern life, there are people who still choose to attach themselves to the sea, to each wave, each catch of net. No need for flashiness, they just need a peaceful sea, and a full hold of fish. The sea is not always rough. There are days when the weather is calm, the water is still, and the fish flock to the shore, creating an unforgettable scene. Each net is pulled back close to the side of the boat, and then, once again, the whole boat is filled with shiny silver fish crowded together, jumping as if happy to be discovered. That scene both wild and pleasing to the eye. In the midst of majestic nature, where the mountains and forests reflect themselves on the water, people are still blending with nature every day to survive, but also to preserve life. The small boats seem to be weighed down by the huge number of fish covering the entire floor. Each fish wriggled, reflecting the light from the still water, creating a brilliant picture of life. On the other side, the lens took us deep into the net, where every movement became closer than ever. The net is tightly spread, embracing an entire ocean treasure. The sound of fish splashing, the sound of the rope squeaking, the fishermen shouting to each other amid the sound of the waves, all blend together like a song of the sea. In each pair of blue gloves are hands that are used to tangled mesh, to small, painful cuts from the fishing line. They are meticulously removing each piece of net, removing each fish that is still stuck. The work is not noisy, but requires absolute concentration and patience. And then huge catch began to pour down. The whole deck seemed to come alive. Thousands of fish struggled, spilling out from the net. Water splashed everywhere. Hasty footsteps stepped on each wave of fish that sparkled like raw silver. Laughter, calls to each other echoed across the waves, signaling a successful trip. The last rain of fish of the day seemed to be pouring off the deck. The fishermen shouted to each other to control, to keep their balance, to keep the rhythm while each fish continued to fall like a wave. This was no longer just a fishing trip, but a real victory over the sea, over the weather, over all the challenges of the profession. Afternoon falls. The sea is calmer. The ship quietly cuts through the waves, pointing its bow toward the distant horizon. Behind are the nets laden with achievements. Ahead still the vast ocean, challenging, but also full of promise. For those working at sea, no day is the same. Only faith, will, and love for the ocean are things that never change. Behind each full catch of fish is a complex and precise operating system. Each rope loop is wound evenly on the reel like blood flowing through the hull. On the seabed, the net is spread out according to the control from the deck, guided by underwater navigation devices, accurate to the meter. The net moves silently in the ocean, gently but calculatingly, like a human arm reaching down into the depths. The net slowly closed. The sea behind the boat began to boil. Waves of fish were forced into a giant circle, flinging themselves around in panic, creating fierce white streaks in the gray water. In the sky, hundreds of birds swooped down. They had smelled the party going on below. The flapping of wings, the splashing of fish, the roar of the tractor all joined together in the bustling symphony of fishing. The last net of the day was pulled up, suffocatingly full. The fish were so crowded that the net seemed to burst. In the sky, birds were still flying, the sea was still roaring, but behind that beauty was another side of the ocean. Night fell without warning. The sea was no longer gentle. The wind blew against the ship's side, and the big waves rushed in, testing the courage of the sailors. In the cold light of the ship's lights, the figures of people were still working diligently, despite the fog, the whirlwind, and the salty sea water. Under the deep blue water, the net began to tighten heavier than ever before. An unusual resistance made the whole ship tilt. No one said anything, but everyone knew something really big was below. And then, there it was, a giant yellowfin tuna, thrashing about in the net, its body sleek and majestic like an ocean warrior. The whole team worked together to bring it aboard, heavy, long, and powerful. Every fish, every net, every voyage out to sea is a part of the flesh and blood of the men who live by the sea. On the deck, giant yellowfin tuna lie still, shimmering silver in the sunlight. Fishermen gently touch the fish's body with their hands as a silent thank you for the gift from the sea. In the distance, ropes, nets, and coils of rope are all gathered, neatly ready for the next trip. Bare feet wet with seawater still walk steadily, without shoes, without protection, just perseverance and an indomitable spirit. Thank you for following our journey to the end. If you find the video interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next trips. Each like and comment from you is a great motivation for me to continue making better quality videos. See you in the next episodes, wishing you good health, good luck, and a full hold of fish.